Hello and welcome back to the Tea and the Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're going to be talking about our travels in Britain again.
Yeah.
Because we're still here. And we'll let you know when we've left, don't worry. We're going to be talking about, when we went to Tenby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so when we left London, we came to Wales, where we've been staying with Dominic's uncle.
Yeah.
And just visiting his friends and family, and sort of his uncle sort of let us use his house as like a little base for us to take little short trips around
the country.
From. So we also had like our carry-on luggage with us, so we just use those smaller bags.
Because, like a hold-all and stuff.
Yeah, because I think we mentioned in a previous podcast the size and weight of our suitcases.
Oh, yes.
From America, so
quite large.
So they wouldn't have been very practical to take some of these quicker trips and on trains and buses and stuff. So we had those, and I don't really know know why we took this first little trip. Dominic just kind of like...
I kind of was like, oh, well, we should go somewhere just for like a day. A little day trip up to... And I was thinking somewhere close by. And we'd been to Swansea and Cardiff before on our previous trips. I mean, when she'd come over, like, when we first met and stuff, So I figured... we'll go somewhere in West Wales.
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe Aberystwyth, but I was like, oh, there's nothing really to do up there. But then I was like, oh, Tenby's quite nice.
Oh, yeah.
And it was quite a nice little day.
You had been to Tenby before?
Yeah, I've been to Tenby before.
Okay.
Yeah. Saundersfoot and Tenby and all that, they're all down there,
Yeah, because there's so many places in Britain.
Because my uncle used to live in Saundersfoot, so...
Depending on where you are... that you can just take a day trip to. You don't need any luggage.
Yeah.
No luggage at all required.
Just you, yourself, and I.
Yeah. Just go up in the morning and come back at night, And, so we went to Tenby. Yeah.
I mean, I just had this kind of like, I'll just book as a little trip to Tenby. And you were just kind of like, oh, I don't know what it's going to be like. And so it's just along the coast, really. Mm-hmm. It's in Pembrokeshire.
Yeah.
We're in Carmarthenshire right now, but Pembrokeshire is another county.
Oh, yeah, you kind of kept saying, like, oh, it's where all the old ladies like to go. All the little old ladies.
That's pretty much everywhere.
So I was
the coasts.
So I was just kind of, like, in my head, I had, like, okay, so I've been to some places in Wales around here before. And they're nice, they're fine,
Yeah.
They're anywhere different is great for me because I like to go places I've never been. So I don't know. I had this like idea based on what you were saying in my head.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, we were gonna get there and it was gonna be sort of like this place where my mom and her boyfriend had been in Britain, in Wales that I'd seen pictures of. Where there's like a boardwalk. Yeah. And there's little shops and sort of like carnival type rides and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I thought there was going to be like a boardwalk. I was thinking like...
On the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Under the boardwalk.
And so, I don't know, I was quite surprised because it was different.
I don't know. Because I don't know. I guess I hadn't really, like, explained to you what it was, really. And I was like, oh, it's a cute little place. And, it's just by the sea and it's quite nice. And you were like, oh, so it's a little bit like, where we are now, Llanelli then,
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's a little bit better than that. Because there's more of a beach and there's more of, it's smaller, Mm. So we got there, took the train.
Well, we took the train, and I just started getting excited because I love the ocean. So, like, the closer we are on the coast here technically, but
Carmarthen Bay.
But it's a bay, yeah. So you have to go quite far out to see like what in my head I consider to be the beach and the coast.
Yeah,
There is a beach and everything, but anyway. But we started seeing more like oceany kind of water, and I was like, oh, I was getting excited.
I mean, we got there, and then we got in, and the train station is such that, everybody poured off the train at Tenby. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh yeah, they're all going here, aren't they? Because it's quite it'd be nice weather, there'd been sunshine, and, it was quite warm, so I was figuring, oh yeah, and I think it was a Saturday we went, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember what particular day it was.
Maybe Friday, Saturday.
But it was
like
cloudy,
that.
So we were like, oh, please don't let it rain. Because, the rain is fine, but when you're just going to be outside and you're not sure where you can get inside to get out of the rain, it's a little bit like,
no, it held out very well for us, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we got there and we got off the train. You were just kind of like, oh, because we were going with the flow of people.
Mm-hmm. Sort of had to go up this hill.
And then you have to go up the hill and you were just kind of like, oh, what is this town?
No, I liked the look of it as soon as we got off. I was like, oh, it looks like, I don't know how to describe it. A little bit more European? I don't know.
European, yeah.
Just
read that word.
Because of the colorful buildings, which apparently is a thing in Britain. Dominic's like, yeah, every seaside town has these colorful buildings like this.
Like colorful buildings, I guess it's kind of like, from the sea it looks quite nice, when you're on a ship or a boat or something.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you live? Oh, my house is a pink one up there on the,
Yeah. Yeah, so when I say colorful buildings, I don't mean like psychedelic, like they're not all painted but like each...
Pink, blue, yellow, orange.
Each one is painted a different color. So there'll be like row houses and, each one is a different color. It's like a rainbow. It's so pretty. But yeah, so we were going up this hill, and everybody's going up the hill.
Everybody's so it was just, can we slow down a minute?
Oh my God, because everybody was rushing.
Yeah, and you could tell why they were rushing. Well, they were rushing, but you were, why is everyone in such a big hurry? Is that they've got important business at the top of this hill?
Yes. Yeah, and I was like, how are we
I'm very sorry, but I'm very late, and I must get to the top of this hill.
I was like, how are we going uphill if this is a seaside town? Like, I could not understand.
You were kind of like, oh, what are we doing going uphill? And I was like, no, you'll have to wait now. You'll have to see.
It was so funny, you guys. I filmed it. I haven't gotten to that footage yet. I don't know if I was able to capture like the speed at which everybody was rushing, but it was literally like, I don't know, it was bizarre. I was like, what is happening? And still, I really don't. I mean, I don't. Well,
they were all rushing. They were just
excited.
They were just excited, and they wanted to get into the town area.
Yeah. Well, they all had their suitcases and they were all pulling them.
Oh, yeah. Well, a couple of them were going to the Premier Inn. It was like, oh, Premier Inn's up here. Quick, go, 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 And I was like, get in. He's like, oh, we've left him behind. Quick, just go. Keep going.
Don't worry about him. Every man for himself.
But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that, it was kind of like everybody's going up the hill and stuff like that. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, we're getting up to this hill.
You get to the top of the hill, there's automatically a little like fish and chip place. Yeah. And then like an old church. It's like, okay, yeah.
And you were just looking at the old, you're looking at the old church. You were like, oh yeah, it's all right. And I said, yeah, but turn around.
Well, no, you were like, yeah, but we have to keep going this way.
Oh, yeah.
And so you get to the top of the hill where it's finally like kind of flat, and then you have to keep going just another block.
Tiny little,
another block, and in short blocks, not like really long.
Yeah.
Not really long blocks. And I'm looking at the buildings and everything. I think I didn't notice that the ocean was right there because I was not expecting it. I wasn't expecting it because we're at the top of a hill. I was like, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's so pretty. It's so colorful.
Oh, look at this. Oh, yeah.
The buildings. Yeah, everything looks great. And Dominic's like, yeah. And there's the beach. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, my God. So so when you walk from the train station up this hill, across this street, and then to the next street, basically.
The next street, that's like the shore road, you know.
Yeah, and it's this really long
and we're on like a mountain or a hillside.
Yeah. There's like this really long street in either direction, left and right. It goes left and right, and it's it's going along the seaside.
Yeah.
And you're basically on the top of a cliff. It's a cliff.
It's a cliff. Yeah, it's basically a cliff face.
Yeah, it's a cliff, but down there's this beautiful like beach, like you're in
it's the north,
like you're on an
it's
island.
It's either the north or the south beach we were at.
It was just so
it's divided
gorgeous.
by like a little headland,
and the water's all like beautiful seafoam green. I don't know. I felt like I was somewhere else because I had not seen that. Like I had not seen
you hadn't seen picture postcard
like
beaches here.
Well, I hadn't really, yeah.
Well, because the town that we're in, it's kind of got a beach. It's got a beach, but the tide goes out very far,
and it's out most of the day.
It comes back in at night, but it's still, it's not really a beach. It's not like Torquay or anything like that. It's not like there's a good beach there,
Mm-hmm. I mean, there is a beach, but when the tide is out most of the day, you have to go out so far to like we've never gone out far enough to reach the actual
it's
ocean,
like it's in like a little inlet.
The water just kind of stays at your shins at the deepest, and you can walk out for
a while.
Yeah. So this was like a beach. Like, I don't know. I felt like I was in Europe. I felt like I was on an island. Like, it was very, like, it was a nice beach. And also, the beaches, a lot of the beaches that I've seen, like on YouTube or on shows or whatever, they're like more like rocky beaches.
They're like pebble beaches, what they call a pebble beach,
and
there's a lot of them around in the UK. I mean, you'd kind of argue that the town we're in, Clonachley, is more of a pebble beach than an actual beach. Yeah. But there is sand there.
There is some sand, yeah.
There is some sand, but there's a lot of pebbles. It's not like, whereas Torquay isn't, it's like, it's a beach.
Yeah. Beach.
beach. Sandy beaches, yeah.
Yeah, this is a really nice beach. There were people down, like, building sand castles and doing all the beach things. There were those little,
beach huts?
Well, yeah, but they were like a version of that. They were like I think they were like wind barriers that people had set up to like protect their little spots, or maybe like change behind. I don't think you could go actually inside.
It was more. It was a wind barrier. There was like canvas
to keep their chairs from blowing over and stuff.
To keep the chairs from blowing over, and to keep the wind from blowing your hair all over the place and blowing into your head and all that, and you can't hear what someone's saying.
Yeah.
Because, you're trying to have a chat on the beach, and, that's another thing.
It was so nice. I'm like remembering now. I want to go back. I really liked it.
Yeah, and it's only a few miles from where we are.
Yeah, and so it was like, okay,
Saundersfoot hasn't got a bad bit. I think it's more of a harbour, though.
That little town that we passed by was really cute, too. Ferry Town, or...
Ferryside,
something or other.
Yeah,
it had a little, like, water thing, and there were, like, sailboats and everything. You passed right by.
Oh, yes, Ferryside, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a ferry over to... there used to be. I'm pretty sure there probably still is, over to the other... across the little, like, bay there. To the, like, there's a castle there.
Oh, yeah.
Or the ruins of one.
So I just wanted to see kind of the town, so we just walked around and took in all the colourful buildings and
Took in all the colourful buildings, and, I was just like, because your brother was saying, what are the beaches like?
Yeah,
He'd said that before we left. And you'd taken a video for him of Clonachley Beach.
Yeah.
And it was, this is kind of what they are. So, it's not very inspiring.
Oh, I didn't say that.
But it wasn't very inspiring. It wasn't, I was like, no, Tenby's better than this.
Well, it wasn't like what he was asking, Yeah. Like, I knew what he meant. Like, do they have beaches, like, California beaches in California or beaches in
Yeah.
Florida or, you know, the Carolinas or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
just like not that I have seen until this point.
We didn't bring our bathing suits.
No, and it was quite a warm day.
Yeah,
It was like
so we could have kicked off our shoes and
it was like in the 60s.
Yeah.
It was in the 60s. The wind wasn't really blowing too much. I don't remember that it was anyway. Or if it was like a humid wind. It was not a really cool
Yeah, it wasn't
wind.
really a coolish wind. Yeah.
And we could have easily gotten the water, I think.
Yeah.
So I was definitely
The water
sad
was
about
cold.
that.
The water was cold, though.
Well, no, you say that, but you didn't get in, did you? Dominic was like, go, do you want to put your feet in? Do you want to put your feet in? And I had just little flats on that I had slipped on, so it was easy enough for me to take them off. So I was like, all right, yeah. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves now because this is at a different area, but I did go down and take my shoes off and we walked down to the water, and I was like pumping myself up because I was thinking it's gonna be freaking cold, you know. This is the Atlantic. This is like, it's not in a it's not in a bay there at Tenby, is it?
No, it's kind of like more open to the Atlantic, I guess.
Yeah, it's just open, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just at the almost the beginning of the Bristol Channel.
So I was like, this is gonna be cold, but I did want to do it, so I was like like that. And then when I kind of, it was cold, but it wasn't like take your breath.
It wasn't
like
freezing.
take your breath away. Cold.
Yeah, like if you were going in the dead of January, it would have been take your breath away, you know?
Yeah, it was like if you've ever been in a super cold swimming pool, or actually if you've ever been to Austin, we have a natural springs in Austin.
It's a constant 68 degrees Fahrenheit, isn't it, or something?
68, I think, which sounds pretty warm, but it's actually pretty chilly. Most people are like, you know, gasp when they get in. So I was expecting that, and it wasn't that really. It was cold, but it was not. It didn't take my breath away.
It was quite.
I mean, I only
nice.
got my feet in. Let's face it. I did have pants on, so I only got my feet in. I didn't get even up to my knees or anything. But yeah, it was so good, and I wish we did have our bathing suits.
Yeah, we could have gone for a little paddle, but there we go. I mean, we could have bought some, but you know.
So we went down the stairs, didn't we?
We went down the stairs to that little. We'll just go to because there's like a little what do they call it? There's a plinth there of like.
We're backing up now because that was getting ahead of me.
Yeah. There was like a plinth, and they've got two beaches. It's got the North Beach and the South Beach. Mm-hmm. I think
which I didn't know that at the time.
The North Beach, I think it is. It's like it's a bit smaller than the South one. I think.
Oh, the North Beach is where the big rock was.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
God, that was a fraction of the size of the other one.
Yeah, because the other one is like everyone was there, you know.
The other one kind of went on.
There's not too many people down there. I said, yeah, no, because they're all on the other side of the headland here.
Yeah.
Because it kind of goes out, there's a headland, and, you know.
I don't know. I think if you were thinking relative to the space, there were probably more people in the little
maybe
part. You know what I mean? If you
it's like a little cove, yeah.
The water was a lot more calm there as well because it was because it is like a little cove. But we walked down there. We just kind of looked around and we followed this area where everybody had their little like boats parked. And there was really only room for one person to walk at a time because everybody had their, like, I don't know what that was. I don't know how they
like
even got their boats up there either because
it was like a little marina type thing, but it wasn't, you know, it was like a makeshift type marina.
It was like a little slipway thing for the boats to get onto the water, I assume, when the water comes in that much, or they can roll down to the water from there, but I honestly do not know how they get on there because there's not enough.
The tide was going out when we were coming in. Anyway, the tide was going out, but there were still people there, and we were only there for a couple of hours or 3 hours. And at that time, there was on the South Beach, or was it the North Beach? I can't remember which
Yeah,
one. The one
whichever.
with the beach with the big rock in the middle of it. The water was surrounding the big rock, and it was coming onto the beach.
You'll have to look at our TikTok.
And by the time we left, it was like almost out. The tide had gone back out and had, left the big rock there, and
Yeah, watch our TikTok. I'll put videos up.
Of
Tenby on there.
it's much better when you see it.
Yeah, and you'll understand what we're talking about. But so we walked down that all the way, and then you get to these like rock buildings that look like you're suddenly on a movie set. I think it was like the original kind of probably buildings that had been there. I think they were like there since the 1600s.
They were built up there.
There's like a little church, and I don't know what the function of the other
somebody
buildings.
landed there. I think
Somebody.
I don't know who it was though. Or maybe I'm getting confused with Brixham now, because somebody landed
so
there.
Many places.
Yeah. Somebody landed there and, like made Tenby their kind of like, landing spot for their army or whatever.
Yeah, it was. It was there, but I don't remember who either. When he says somebody, he means somebody in history, not just some random person.
Some random person turned up with his army and was like, yeah, this is where we're going to land. We're going to invade Wales now.
But yeah, so they have some information there, and those buildings were all there at that time. And basically, they were like the port.
It was a port,
like a little port, and they were just all the buildings, like for the fishing or for the.
It used to be as well.
Yes, yeah.
But now they're kind of like tourist businesses, like the cafes or something like that.
I think they were just kind of used as like warehouse. They didn't look like
storage.
They were like They look like mostly storage. Like they looked well taken care of in the sense that they were standing and they were really old buildings, but they were not being like commercially utilized.
Yeah. No.
Whereas they could have been, because there were like the old lamp posts and everything through there. It was like it was a tiny little area of just like 4 or 5 buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, there were not that many buildings. I'm making it sound like it was more than it was, but it was just a cool little area to me anyway. I like stuff like that. I felt like I was on like the set of Pole Dark or something. I think I said that too.
You always think you're on the set of Pole Dark. Everywhere we go, it's like, is this a set of Pole Dark? I was like, no.
They could have easily.
We never went to Cornwall.
I know.
We were going, but we didn't. We were going down to Torquay and stuff, but we didn't.
Yeah, we'll have to save that.
We'll have to save that for next time.
Yeah.
Our Paul Dark adventure in Cornwall. And Doc Martin, because that's the big, those are the 2 main things. And Cornwall, that's got some fantastic beaches.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I knew that. But I kind of thought that was the only place where you had beaches.
Yeah.
I thought the rest were like mostly rocky, because even in Brighton they're rocky, aren't they?
There's a beach in Brighton.
Like a beach?
I think so. Yeah.
I think I've only ever seen footage of people sitting on rocks.
Yeah, they just don't know where it is. They haven't used. They don't know the location of the good beach. There's a pier in Brighton. Everybody likes to walk out onto the pier. Yeah, have a great time down the pier.
So you go down, you go past those buildings, you go like to them. There's a little church there, but there's also some
we went in that little church.
Yeah, there's a few little restaurants, and then there's the marina where all the people's boats,
fishing
boats now,
yachts and stuff. Yeah.
And then there's like another set of stairs or like a ramp or something where you can get to the other beach, which I didn't know that there was another beach until we started going that way. He's like, oh, let's go to this other beach. So we started to go up that ramp, but at the top of the hill, before you kind of get to the beach, there's the remains of an old castle. And what else is up there?
The remains of an old castle. There was a statue of...
you have to tell that story.
Prince Albert.
There was a giant statue. We didn't know it was
Giant statue of Prince Albert.
We didn't know it was Prince Albert at first.
Victoria's husband.
We didn't know it was him at first because we were around the back side of it and there was no information back there. So we kind of heard people talking people walked up to the front side of it. When I say huge, it's a huge statue. We heard people talking, and somebody asked, "Oh, who's this a statue of?" And the dad was like, "Oh, Prince Albert."
Prince Albert is was he from Tenby then? So I presume so.
Prince Albert was from Tenby.
Yeah, it's like they don't. Well, I mean, these people, they don't know. They were from like the Midlands or somewhere.
They're British people.
Yeah, but they don't know they don't know their own history.
Well, no, because she didn't even know who he was.
You know,
I don't think.
It's probably
I think he said, "Oh, she Queen Victoria's husband."
Prince Albert. Yeah, someone said, "Oh, it's Queen Victoria's husband."
Yeah. So I think she didn't even know. I mean, she was like a teenage kid.
Yeah, and the teenage kid was like, "Oh."
Was he from Tenby then?
And her dad was like, "Oh, I presume so."
I presume so,
because... And it's like, no, he was from Germany.
They were German.
He was from actual Germany. Yeah.
They both were, weren't they? She was born here.
Oh yeah, but she had German ancestry. I think she was born here anyway. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I don't know. Actually.
He was born in the Rhineland or whatever it was back then. You know. Prussia. Whatever.
But then again, I probably only know that because we've seen that Victoria
series. Yes.
I wouldn't have known otherwise. But it just surprised me that
He had a strong German accent, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know.
You're just thinking of his character in Blackadder.
Well, no, and in Victoria he had the accent too.
Yeah. I don't know. It just surprised me that British people didn't know that. Oh yeah, was he from Tenby then? Oh yeah, I presume so.
Big statue of JFK too.
Which I mean, if you don't know,
Tenby.
Which I mean, if you don't know, I guess you are going to assume that because there's a giant statue of him. You know.
Well, all you had to do is read it. So Prince Albert, who loved Tenby, visited here once and was like, "Yeah, Tenby's fantastic. Love this place." And like, well, let's build a statue to him then.
Well, he and Queen Victoria, I mean, over this tour of Britain that we've done, it's been very much like, I think he and Queen Victoria did tour Britain quite a lot.
Oh, extensively, yeah.
And they made they sort of were like, oh, this is a good town, this is a good town.
Yeah,
people should come here.
Yeah,
you know?
So that's when tourism started up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's was like, the royal family, Queen Victoria's been here, so, yes, open up your door, Queen Victoria stopped here.
Well, they'd write it. They'd write it up in the newspapers, wouldn't they? Oh, the Queen Victoria thinks it's a lovely place. She says she recommends this restaurant or this
little
hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
And really, the Victorian era is when they started, really taking care of the buildings and deciding, we're not going to...
When it's tourism, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to tear these old buildings down because, the royal family says we shouldn't because they're wonderful and we should preserve them. And, so all of that kind of started, which thankfully, I mean, God. So then, from the top of the hill, you can see this other, was it an island or could you walk over there? I don't remember.
It's a little island, it was. I don't think you could walk over there.
And what was it? What was on it? I don't remember what...
Oh, it was a castle.
No, it wasn't.
A fort.
It was a fort. There we go.
A fort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was like, but it was like... It was
an old...
It was an old fort, and everybody thought it was the castle, but it wasn't. Because it was just a fort, and you had to pay £5 to get up there or something.
To tour it.
And you still had to... Because someone says, I'm not paying £5, and I'm going up all those steps.
I've got to climb up all of that.
All of that, and still pay £5.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
And we didn't go over there. I don't think it was open either.
I don't think it was either, but people seem to be wondering. Oh, but I don't know, yeah. That was on the South Beach, or the North Beach, whichever one was the biggest one.
Yeah.
There was caves and...
Yeah, so from the top of that hill, then you can see this giant beach, and it kind of I guess stretches down the rest of the coast, right? You could, in theory, walk to different towns that are on the coast from there. If you just kept walking the beach. I mean, it would be quite a walk, but it just kept going as far as I remember, and there were a lot of people there, and that was a lot more. It was colder over there because it was more open.
It was
to the
more
wind.
Exposed to the wind. Yeah.
Yeah. And my God, there were these like little old people everywhere climbing these hills that Dominic and I are tired of climbing.
So one woman on a mobility scooter leaving her husband in the dirt. She's going up the hill like that. And he's there like
he's struggling after her. I was like, oh my God, give him a ride. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think those things can hold more than one person.
But the winds on the top of that hill where the castle were very, very strong.
Oh yeah, we had to.
And some of these little old people are very like delicate looking. I was scared. Yeah. I was like, they're gonna get knocked over.
They're gonna get blown away off the cliff.
Yeah, and
away you go.
And there's not for a country. And I kept saying this in multiple different places that we were.
Multiple.
For a country that is so obsessed with health and safety.
Yeah.
There didn't seem to be a lot of like
handrails.
Rails and stuff keeping you from tumbling over. There were like these kids that were doing you know how when you're a kid you want to roll down a hillside or do front flips down it or whatever.
That, yeah.
They were doing that, and I was like, "You are seriously about to go off the side of this cliff? Like, what is happening right now?"
Yes, but we had lunch in Tenby. We went to chip shop, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had to wait a little while for it because it was quite popular there.
Oh my God, Tenby was absolutely packed.
It was heaving.
It was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was very, very touristy. Like, there were so many tourists. There were so many restaurants, places to eat, but everything was packed. Everything had like a line around the outside of it.
Yeah.
Everybody was going around with ice cream cones and like, I don't know, I felt
Donuts
like I was
was the big thing as well.
There was like people playing music. I felt like I was at Disneyland once we kind of
I think you said there's like, oh, this feels like Disneyland.
Because of the way it looked, all colorful, and then like it had all the little thing, everything looked like perfect, and then there were just so many people, and then people playing like the accordion and stuff. Like, I don't know, like I just felt very much like I was in Disneyland. Everybody was so happy with their like cotton candy and their donuts and their
oh yeah, they were obsessed with their donuts. It's like, oh, there's donuts, quick, get in there.
Yeah.
And that's a thing, they eat donuts at the seaside. I guess that's something that's come into law now.
Yeah, you were kind of surprised about that.
Because I never, because it's ice cream and fish and chips. I'm from the old times. The pre-2020 times.
Well, you always mentioned rock.
Stick of rock.
To me, that's like the
rock
seaside
candy,
thing to get.
Yeah, like a stick of rock.
Yeah.
And I mean, but hardly anyone was like, oh, they do donuts, oh. And it's like...
Yeah, we heard several people, like, looking for places that did donuts.
And churros are becoming popular as well. I guess because they're popular in Spain.
Yeah.
And like the coastal holiday destinations of Spain.
I mean, I saw some places that did churros, but I heard several different people go in like, oh, do they have any donuts? Or
they're doing donuts. Oh, they've stopped them all.
Yeah, or little kids going, I want a donut. And I was just like, what in God's name? What is the obsession with ice cream?
What's the appeal? Yeah, ice cream is fine.
It's warm. You're at like the beach. You feel like you want an ice cream cone, but I thought the donut thing
apparently
was very
donuts are the thing.
So yeah, we went in this little chip shop, and we had to wait in line, but it was not a big deal. And it was actually one of the cheaper places that we found.
Yeah.
And they had like I can't remember what I even got. I got a fish cake. Yeah, they had like
you got a little fish cake, and we shared some chips.
Award-winning family recipe fish cake. You know? So I was like, all right, we'll try that then if that's their thing that they do here,
And I got a battered sausage.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Sausage.
Yeah. And then we shared chips. Yeah. The fish cake was fabulous.
Oh yeah, you loved it, didn't you?
It was so good.
It wasn't bad. Yeah.
I mean, I've never had a fish cake before. It was very like weird because it was like fish with mashed potatoes.
Well, that's usually what they are, fish.
Who puts fish with mashed potatoes, though? That is so...
Fish pie.
Yeah, I've never had a fish pie.
Fish pie usually is done with a mashed potato top.
Yeah, I know.
It's like fish in like
weird.
a white sauce and then mashed potato top, kind of like a weird, kind of like cottage or shepherd's pie, you know.
Yeah.
They got mariner's pie. I guess they call it a mariner's pie, actually.
Well, fish pie, yeah.
Fish pie. Luxury fish pie.
Yeah, so I guess that is what the fish cake is. And it tasted like there was like dill in it.
Yeah.
It was very good. Yeah, it was very good. Your sausage was good, actually.
My battered sausage, yeah. Battered Savoy. Yeah. Good stuff.
And then it did kind of start to rain, so we were a little bit like...
Oh, we're going to head back.
We're going to head back, yes.
Get on the train.
So we went back to the train. The train was cancelled.
The train was cancelled. Well, the one that we wanted to get on was cancelled.
Yeah. So
we had to wait. And yeah, and we had a couple of people going, oh, our train was cancelled and we've got a replacement bus, she said.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it's coming or not.
Well, we were like, okay, the train is canceled. We'll come back and try for the next train. Because Dominic wanted to go see...
the lifeboats, yeah.
The lifeboats, yeah. You'll have to
lifeboat
explain.
Station. I mean, I'll explain more in my TikTok on it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm going to do a TikTok, because I did kind of like a thing on Tenby Lifeboat Station is one of the biggest in the country, I think. Or maybe one of the oldest lifeboat stations. I mean... They had the old one there, but they moved and built a newer one for the lifeboats.
Yeah.
Out of all the money they had from charity. So the old one got turned into an Airbnb and was featured on Grand Designs or something, you know.
Yeah.
So
well, I think
it's a private residence.
It was a private residence, and then the guy who bought it turned it into an Airbnb.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's sort of like I asked you if it was sort of like the Coast Guard.
Not really, no. They just go out to patrol for like fishing boats that are in distress or anyone that's fallen off the cliff into the sea.
Yeah.
And they can't swim to shore.
Yeah.
So they need someone's fallen off, call a lifeboat, you know, and they go down the slipway and it's entirely voluntary, you know. So they're volunteers, they're trained, and they've got little like uniforms. And they've got fast boats to go out and, you know, do all that, you know. And they're one of the most respected charities in the UK, you know.
So we went back into town to go watch a lifeboat launch.
Yeah,
which ended up being like the thing that absolutely everybody else in town was.
Well, yes,
also
today
doing.
it's the lifeboat. We're going to do it. Well, it was
at 6 p.m.
They were going to do a training, you know, like, we're going to launch the lifeboat and go out and just circle around the bay and come back. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There wasn't like an actual emergency or anything. It was pre-planned. It was
like a training exercise, yeah.
And so everyone was there for it. And I figured everyone was going to be there for it too. And I was like, you know.
We managed to get there in time to get decent places. But otherwise I definitely would not have been able to see because I'm not very tall, so.
Yeah, because someone came in a wheelchair and everybody was like, oh, can she go and watch?
And they were like,
okay, yeah.
Can you all move so I can push her right up to
the front
okay.
So I can see? And she was like, okay, yeah. And it was like, okay, yeah, you know, they tried to do it, and it was like, and then there was a couple of kids who were like, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, you know, I got here first, and I'm, you know, I don't care. She's in a wheelchair. You know, they were all a bit like that, but they managed to put her up there and everything. Lifeboat launched. Everyone wants to get out of there so they can go up the little path to the creek to watch it go. Mm-hmm. And. What was it, the carer or whatever of this poor woman in the wheelchair, he yanked the freaking wheelchair and tried to pull her out, and she crashed into like the door or something. She goes, oh, where are you going?
He's trying to spin her around and push her out really quickly.
Yes.
It's just like...
And it's like, she's not, yeah, no.
Yes.
It was a bit hectic, but yeah, no, we got some footage, which you'll see on TikTok.
Yeah, it was good.
Reels and all that,
it was very interesting. I was glad that we were able to go back and watch that. So, yeah, you'll have to look on TikTok. We'll put it on Reels also, just to make sure that you guys don't miss anything. Be sure you are following us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube particularly, that's where we're putting the videos.
Yeah.
Each one has different time limits. It's so annoying, you guys. Because
Yeah.
it's like TikTok, I think we can do like 10-minute long videos. Instagram is only like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And then YouTube Shorts, which I only want to do the ones that are laid like, what do you call it? Portrait
style.
as shorts. Because
Yeah.
I think it's annoying to, I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys can let me know. But I've only been uploading them as shorts, and they're only a minute long. So each time we have to like edit them down. You know, and it's just like, I've just gotten where I'm just like, watch the full video on TikTok. Like, you know, like this is just a little like trailer for the actual video, basically. But, yeah, so that was basically it. We went back and we were able to then finally get on a train.
We got on a train. It was a little bit late, but you know that's transport for Wales for you.
Or did we get on a bus? I don't remember.
No, we got on a train because the replacement bus finally turned up right before our train was coming.
Oh.
And you were like, oh, it's across the platform there, because we saw a couple of people running, and I was just like, I'm not running across the bridge. It's chucking it down out there. You know, they can go.
By that time it had started.
I got tickets for the train. I'm gonna wait for it to come in, and then we'll go. You know.
And it's so annoying at some of these train stations because they have like really long platforms, and sometimes they don't have enough benches for everybody to sit. So if you've got to wait like, you know, an hour for your train to come, you're just going to be standing or sitting on the ground. And then sometimes they might have benches, but there's no like cover over the benches. So you can sit down, but you will get wet. I don't know. It's just some of the things that and then no bathrooms on station platforms.
Well, yeah, no, there's very little, and sometimes they're locked because.
Oh my God, we had to go to the bathroom, didn't we?
Yeah.
And there was no, and we couldn't find.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the next free bathroom is such and
back
such.
where you came, you know.
Yeah, basically back in
from
town.
whence you came.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like, you know, you have to pay 30p or something, which is not a big deal, but you don't always have change on you, do you? You know?
I think they're trying to get everything going to card and contactless now.
I didn't see any that were
I saw a couple in Otacon Beach in Torquay.
Oh, yeah.
They were contactless.
The only ones I saw were you had to put change in, so.
Yeah.
And they only accept, like, 10s and 20s.
Yeah.
Like, it's very specific, you know, you can no 5 pences or no pennies or, you know, it's like, it's annoying. But anyway, that was Tenby. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if these are boring, because we don't want to just, like, ramble on and tell you guys things you're not interested in.
Yes, let us know.
I mean, we're just kind of, like, talking and recapping. Okay, now what happened next and what happened next? But maybe you're just like, God, enough already. But thank you so much if you've stuck with us this long. We really appreciate your support. Shout out to our patrons, as always, for their continued support. We really appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you all next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.